Anyone looking at Brexit, or at least the causes and the creations of some of its potential problems, were always going to tell you that immigration, or at least the need for labor, be it unskilled or skilled labor, was always going to be a need for the British market. Because for years, Britain has relied on immigrant labor to be able to fill a lot of its jobs gaps. And when you dig into this, it's not companies trying to sort of get away and hire cheap labor. Like I say, we have minimum wage. That sort of eliminates that argument almost immediately. But you have other numerous reasons, and honestly, the reasons for this are deep and wide. It's years of businesses, the government themselves, not investing in sort of new technology, not training British workers in the way they should, not investing in them, and it even comes down to the matter of local transport as well. I always say this in South Yorkshire, 1 in 5 people turn down a job because they can't actually get there. Now, I can't speak to that statistic what it would be like for the rest of the country, but I know that is the one for South Yorkshire. So there are a myriad of problems when it comes to this, and it's not just one thing you can point to. It is years and years of not investing in the UK, and that goes for the British government. Um, Businesses not sort of investing in their workers, and of course the UK government not rewarding them for doing that. And it's not, and it does go beyond that because there are hundreds of thousands of examples, all kinds of things you can look at to see why this has really been a situation over the past few years. But this drove one of the big things for the Brexit vote, that if we do Brexit, this will stop immigrants coming. Well, it really hasn't. Immigration has actually doubled because of Brexit. And you may think, it's down to those all small boats. But the people coming on the small boats are but a tiny, tiny fraction of a fraction of the immigrants coming. Because the most way immigrants actually arrive in the UK is not by boat, it's by plane. And yet, you don't see Farage out there saying, stop the planes, or even Cyril Braverman out there with her, stop the planes or reroute them to Rwanda or whatever, because, well, they can't do that. It's not, shall we say, as politically attractive as, look at those small boats coming on over. So we continue this ridiculousness and this, of course, this need that we have for labor coming into the country, because we have a continuing aging population. One of those ways you can fight that aging population is by having immigration and encouraging immigration. This is something that Japan, one of the big sort of bastions of this, you can't have immigration, and having really harsh immigration rules slowly but surely itself is having a conversation. We need to accept more immigrants, because if we don't, we're going to have a situation where we have so many old people and not enough people in the workforce where they cannot then actively help and pay for the care of the old people. And this is a very similar situation that we in the UK are also looking at, because we're getting a more and more aging population, but less and less people in the workforce. This is why the government has tried to have this big drive to try and sort of get people in their 50s back to work. Doesn't look like that's going to work. But anyway, we're going to go today to have a look at Guernsey, of all places, to see how they are going to Kenya, because they are not the only group of British industries that are having to now reach further afield. They're having to go to Kenya, the Philippines, to get workers, because they need these workers and they cannot find them in the UK. So before we go diving into this, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, do remember to ring the bell as well. And of course, as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help support the channel. And of course, down below, there is the Patreon page, there's the Pony Club, there's the one-off donation called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. There's the YouTube thank you button. And of course, as always, thank you very much to all those people. So over we go to the Guernsey Press with their talk on this. So the bailiwick is increasingly looking to Kenya to fill critical gaps in the job market. The difficulties with recruiting from the EU since Brexit have meant that some sectors, especially hospitality, have gone further afield in order to fill vacancies. The Guernsey Hospitality Association has been instrumental in the change of policy to allow non EU staff to come here, said the GHA President Alan Sheriff. As well as Kenya, we have recruited from Bangladesh, the Philippines, and India. And he called the Kenyan staff a real asset to our industry. The Kenyan staff have been fabulous. We need committed professionals, and we have lots of commitments in the past 12 months from people saying how the levels of service have increased. The link with Africa was established through the Jersey-based recruiters of GR8 and has recently increased its senior staff in London, where to meet the Kenya's Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Alfred Mutala, I think that's how you say it, and the country's High Commissioner as well. Brexit meant that there was a sudden need to look beyond the UK and the EU for seasonal and contract staff, said the GR8 director Lee Madden. Again, not surprising. This is what we've been heard before. Sharing a common language and values, GR8 has already had an established relationship with Kenya Utini College, a hospitality training centre in Nairobi. The company has had almost 100 recruits from Kenya working in Guernsey, almost all in the hospitality, but it is now forecasting to try and fill another 100 roles in sectors in diverse as construction, healthcare, and veterinary services this year. Mr. Marden has been saying in discussions with the Kenyan governor over the bilateral agreement to supply skilled staff to the UK and Ireland and the Isle of Man and the Channel Islands, saying that the trend will only increase in value to the economics and the communities in Kenya, the Channel Islands, as well as the UK. We've built up a strong relationship with the training college and the Kenyan officials over a number of years. We have already used this route to the Channel Islands for skilled workers from Kenya who are available to work in hospitality, construction, and healthcare sectors, and we are already providing further service into the UK and Ireland too. We have over 10,000 professionals from Kenya on our database who are ready to be matched up with suitable vacancies. Mr. Matteo, who's also met with the UK Commonwealth delegation in London last week, which also included Foreign Secretary James Cleverly, said that afterwards that Kenya had requested a quota for over 2,000 nurses, 1,000 seasonal agricultural workers, 8,000 seasonal construction in construction, hospitality, and in health, including those people headed for the islands. So this this should be a nightmare. Why haven't you seen Farage talk about this? Why haven't you seen him condemn this? Because he can't. It makes him look foolish. And to be honest, this is something that the Conservatives are trying to keep on the down low as well, having to sort of, accept all these, foreign workers. And it's not just that. Look at the Rwanda plan. In the Rwanda plan, something that they are desperately trying to keep quiet, we have accepted that we will take refugees from Rwanda. But again, according to you know all the stories you see about this, it's people, we're the ones sending people to Rwanda. No one seems to have breathed a word that in the agreement that we signed that we will also be accepting refugees from Rwanda as well. You don't see Farage, you know, apoplectic about that. You don't see him out near, down near the airports of Heathrow, Gatwick, or Manchester, out there with binoculars, saying, "Oh my God, there comes another flight in. Oh, how many immigrants is that bringing in?" But he'll gladly sit on the beach, scanning the horizon across the English Channel, looking for any small boat he potentially can to whip up some furore. So, yeah, this was never going to stop. But here's the thing: there were numerous agreements and all kinds of stuff that the government just did not enforce during all those years of this quote unfiltered, uncontrolled immigration, which was again absolutely false because we could control it very, very well. But yeah, expect, not too surprisingly, probably in the near future, people continue to complain about immigrants, and that they thought, "Oh well, I thought Brexit would have ended this." No, we've doubled the number of immigrants since Brexit. And again, Farage and Co trying to keep this under wraps because that was one of their big promises. Because it makes them look a bit foolish, to be honest, and that's why they're not trying to sort of bring any of this up. And like I say, hey, I am pro immigration massively. I've got no problem with immigration. as long as you can actually fund the system, which the Conservatives haven't, the system was working pretty well until the Conservatives took it over, and we can see that from applications and how those were processed at the time. So, yeah, it's just another job for the next government to try and sort out, which hopefully will be a Labour one. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.